Good morning, everybody online. This is Blind Justice coming to you live on the streets of Aberdeen, Washington, sitting outside of City Hall. And had a little later start than usual today. Went over to check out the mobile VA clinic that they have in Aberdeen. It comes to Aberdeen on a pretty regular schedule. I don't know that schedule. We can probably find out and post it in this video. But they will be here today through Friday this week, and they're located on the corner of Broadway and State Street. So if anyone in the VA system needs checking up or blood work or anything like that, they do that stuff there. And yeah, so that was interesting. But today I wanted to talk to you briefly about rest. And we've talked before about rest. And since this protest is titled "Resting is Not a Crime," because the City Council passed an ordinance that made the physical positioning for rest a crime in the city of Aberdeen, in the downtown area on the sidewalks, it's very apropos to talk about what rest actually is. Some people think you have to be have first been doing something in order to rest. So you're taking a break from something. So resting isn't necessarily breaking, isn't taking a break from some activity. Resting is just a state of being, right? Say the object is at rest, right? So objects can be in a state of rest without they can't actually do things on their own power, right? Necessarily. Is the video still going? Somebody tried to call me. Alright, I think it might be still going. So resting is a state of being. And learning to rest as humans is really learning to get into that state of being, human being rather than human doing. And it's incredibly difficult. It's simple, right? We're having internet issues today. Okay, I think I forgot to turn off my Wi-Fi. I might be trying to hop on the library across the street. So resting, state of rest, state of being. And you've probably heard the, don't just sit there, do something. People say that, which is interesting because during the protest, people say the same thing. For 61 days now, people drive by, get a job, which basically they're saying, stop just sitting there, do something. But when you shift to a understanding of human nature and human condition, and it's predicated on rest, you're everything about your mind, your body, you need rest. It's a need, it's a human need. And the two positions you take to rest are either going to be a seated position or a lying down position, which are the two things outlawed in the ordinance. So there's another saying that's kind of a play on that other saying that I just mentioned, and that's just, don't just do something, sit there, right? And I think if we apply that to our lives more than the other, we'll find a dramatic change in our health, our well-being, our understanding, our focus, our goodwill, love for oneself, love for your neighbor, because it's this interesting phenomenon where people feel like they have to be doing something all the time to get some kind of value or worth out of it, rather than being, rather than taking a resting, allowing the things be what they are, even your mind, allowing your mind to settle and rest. And it doesn't have to mean sleep. It doesn't mean sleep. You can get rest out of sleep. That's why you can have restful sleep or unrestful sleep, right? But it's simply finding a nature or finding your nature, your actual state of being, but it's finding the positioning physically, mentally, right? You would even say spiritually, to be still, right? Be still and know. There's a knowing that comes with being still. There's It allows you time for deep reflection. You think of water, running, rushing water that we can hear, and over here, right? It's not still. Things are moving. Things are going on over there. And even bigger quantity of water, a bunch more turmoil going on with rushing rivers and oceans and things like that, choppy surf. You can't see through it, right? You can't see through what's going on in the water. But you think of a really clear, Washington has some really great mountain lakes, and there's some bays and some harbors around the world where, you know, there's just immaculately clear water because the water is still, right? You have very little movement in the water, and so you can see through to the bottom, so like to the floor, to the lake floor, to the ocean floor, where there's still water. So you can dive deep, you can see deep, you can reflect deeply if it's still on the level that it's still, the level at rest you are. The more insight, the more deep you can look at things. So just encouraging you to find some time to rest today, to connect with yourself, to connect with your nature, of being human being instead of human doing, right? That will help shrink your amygdala in your brain that's causing the anxiety and fight or flight to be triggered so fast, right? So then you can be thoughtful and mindful in situations and show compassion and love more readily rather than fear and anger. So resting, definitely not a crime. Definitely need more resting. Every human being on the planet. All right, peace and love to you, and Deo Presto Liber.